Tim Tebow entered the NFL with more hype than almost any quarterback of his era because his college resume looked impossible to replicate. At Florida, he stacked up 9,285 passing yards, 57 rushing touchdowns, 2 national titles, and a Heisman. And he played every snap like a motivational speech come to life. When Denver finally handed him the starting job in 2011, he delivered one of the strangest hot streaks football had ever seen. He completed barely 46% of his passes that season, yet kept dragging games into the fourth quarter and winning them with wild scrambles and clutch throws that made no logical sense. His overtime strike against Pittsburgh instantly became NFL folklore, and for a brief moment, it looked like he had rewritten the rules for what a quarterback could be. But the magic faded fast when Peyton Manning arrived, and Tebow's flaws were exposed on every new roster he joined. Teams wanted more than energy. They needed accuracy, timing, and consistent mechanics, and Tebow never fully developed any of them. His comeback attempt as a tight end fizzled too, leaving behind a career defined by heart, chaos, and what-ifs. And things were just as unpredictable for the next Heisman legend on this list, Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel burst onto the scene like a sports movie character who accidentally wandered into real life. At Texas A&M, he dismantled Alabama, piled up over 5,100 passing and rushing yards in 2012, and earned the Heisman as a freshman while playing the game with backyard creativity that defenses simply couldn't track. But his celebrity grew even faster than his skill set, and by the time Cleveland drafted him 22nd overall in 2014, he was already a tabloid magnet. His NFL numbers never came close to matching the hype. Across 8 career starts, he threw just 7 touchdowns, completed 57% of his passes, and looked completely overwhelmed by pro defenses. Coaches questioned his work habits, teammates questioned his focus, and opponents quickly figured out that his improvisational style didn't translate to NFL speed. Off-field issues piled up, and every new story made it harder for teams to justify giving him another chance. Attempts to revive his career in the CFL and AAF showed flashes, but not enough to rebuild his reputation. His downfall became one of the NFL's most talked about cautionary tales, but that wasn't the only Heisman story that spiraled in unexpected ways. Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston dominated college football with a level of poise that made scouts think he was destined for long-term stardom. His freshman season at Florida State included 4,057 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, and a national title, and he followed it with another strong campaign before entering the 2015 draft. Tampa Bay believed he could be their franchise savior, and in flashes, he looked exactly like that. Winston threw for over 5,000 yards in 2019, becoming one of only 9 quarterbacks in NFL history to hit that mark. But the interceptions were relentless, and his historic 30 touchdown, 30 interception season turned him into a national talking point. The Buccaneers walked away, added Tom Brady without changing the roster much at all, and immediately won a Super Bowl, which only amplified scrutiny on Winston's decision-making. Stints with New Orleans, Cleveland, and now the New York Giants have shown the same pattern. He can launch a perfect 60-yard strike one drive and then throw into triple coverage the next. Fans love the unpredictability, but coaches crave reliability. His future is still uncertain, and the next quarterback in this script dealt with a totally different battle. Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota entered the league as the calm antidote to Winston's chaos. At Oregon, he produced 58 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions in 2014, mastered the fastest offense in college football, and became one of the cleanest quarterback prospects in a decade. Tennessee drafted him 2nd overall in 2015, and his first NFL throw was a touchdown on the way to a 4-score debut. But as defenses adjusted, Mariota struggled reading complex coverages, holding the ball too long, and creating explosive plays when structure collapsed. Injuries hit too. From nerve issues to hamstring strains to a broken fibula, every season seemed to bring a new setback. His best year came in 2016 with 26 touchdowns, yet even then, the Titans' offense felt limited. By 2019, he lost his job to Ryan Tannehill, who instantly pushed Tennessee to a playoff run and made the transition permanent. Since then, Mariota has bounced from the Raiders to the Falcons to the Eagles, and now the Commanders as a veteran backup. He still offers leadership and mobility, but the franchise quarterback expectations have faded, and the next Heisman winner's downfall came even faster. Robert Griffin III looked like the future of football in 2011 when he racked up 4,293 passing yards, 47 total touchdowns, and a Heisman while turning Baylor into must-see TV. Washington traded a historic haul of picks to draft him 2nd overall in 2012, and his rookie season instantly justified the gamble. RG3 produced a 102.4 passer rating, ran for 815 yards, and led the league in yards per attempt, becoming one of the most efficient dual threats the NFL had ever seen. But the playoff game against Seattle changed everything when his damaged knee gave out and tore again. His mobility never returned to its full strength, and without that threat, defenses forced him into the pocket where his mechanics and reads struggled. Kirk Cousins eventually overtook him, and by 2016, Washington let him walk entirely. Time in Cleveland and Baltimore followed, but injuries kept resurfacing. His rise and fall remains one of the most dramatic in modern NFL history, and the next quarterback faced a different kind of battle. Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford carved up college football with machine-like precision, throwing 50 touchdowns in 2008 and winning the Heisman while guiding Oklahoma to an explosive offense that threatened every record in sight. When the Rams drafted him first overall in 2010, they believed he would be the long-term answer, and his rookie season supported that hope with 3,512 passing yards and Offensive Rookie of the Year honors. But durability destroyed his trajectory. Bradford missed 25 games from 2011 to 2014, including back-to-back ACL tears that stalled his development. Teams kept betting on his talent, though, and Minnesota even gave up a first-round pick for him after Teddy Bridgewater went down. Bradford then set an NFL completion percentage record in 2016 at 71.6%, proving the accuracy was still elite. But each resurgence ended the same way, with another injury and another reset. Arizona became his final stop, and his career remains one of the clearest examples of talent overshadowed by physical setbacks. And the next Heisman quarterback suffered a much different decline, Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart was the face of college football during USC's dynasty run, stacking up 10,693 passing yards, 99 touchdowns, a Heisman, and a 37-2 record as a starter. Scouts loved his poise and timing, and many expected him to be a top pick in 2005, but he returned to school for one more season. That extra year shifted the narrative. Questions about arm strength, mobility, and readiness grew louder, and his draft stock slid until Arizona selected him 10th overall in 2006. Leinart showed early flashes, including a 405-yard performance against the Bears, but his development stalled as Kurt Warner revived his own career and took over the job. Rumors swirled about Leinart's preparation habits, and coaches questioned whether he had the urgency needed to survive in the league. Backup roles in Houston, Oakland, and Buffalo followed, but he threw just 4 touchdowns after his rookie year. His career became a story of unreal college dominance that never translated to NFL speed or intensity, and the next Heisman winner faced a completely different type of challenge. Dayne. Dayne entered the NFL with historic production, leaving Wisconsin with 6,397 rushing yards, the most in NCAA history. He won the Heisman in 1999 by steamrolling defenses with his 250-pound frame, and the Giants drafted him 11th overall, expecting an unstoppable power back. But NFL speed neutralized his style. Dayne struggled with conditioning early in his career, and coaches found him too predictable between the tackles. He averaged just 3.5 yards per carry with the Giants and never eclipsed 800 rushing yards in a season. Tiki Barber became the focal point of the offense, and Dayne slowly slid down the depth chart as coaches questioned his versatility. Later stops in Denver and Houston produced occasional bursts, including a 122-yard playoff game in 2005, but nothing close to his college dominance. His career proved that even record-breaking production in college doesn't always translate when defenses get faster and schemes get more complex, and the next player learned that lesson long before his first start, Ware. Ware shattered expectations at Houston by posting 4,699 yards and 46 touchdowns in just 11 games in 1989. Becoming the first black quarterback to win the Heisman while running one of the most aggressive offenses the sport had ever seen. Detroit drafted him 7th overall in 1990, but everything that made him special in college disappeared in the pros. The Lions ran a conservative system built around Barry Sanders, limiting Ware's reps and forcing him into a scheme that didn't fit his strengths. He attempted just 161 passes across 4 seasons, never started more than 2 games in a year, and struggled to adjust to traditional NFL concepts. Detroit's coaching staff cycled through veterans instead of developing him, and Ware quickly became an afterthought. Stops in the CFL brought brief success, but his NFL potential remained a mystery. He had the arm, the mobility, and the vision, but not the opportunity. And the final name on this list faced a completely different fate, Archie Griffin. Archie Griffin remains the only 2-time Heisman winner in history, a record that has stood since 1975. At Ohio State, he rushed for 5,589 yards, recorded 31 straight 100-yard games, and became a symbol of consistency. Cincinnati drafted him 24th overall in 1976, expecting that same reliability to carry over. But Griffin's skill set didn't separate him in the NFL. He averaged just 3.7 yards per carry, never topped 700 rushing yards in a season, and scored only 7 total touchdowns across 7 years. He wasn't ineffective, but he wasn't explosive either. And in a league filled with elite athletes, his steady style couldn't create big plays. Coaches gradually shifted touches elsewhere, and Griffin's role shrank until he quietly exited the league. His story is a reminder that even the most decorated college players can struggle when the competition becomes faster, stronger, and more specialized. If you like this video, consider watching this next one, which YouTube thinks you're going to really love.